Alright, so today we're diving into time management strategies, specifically for the cars section of the MCAT. Now, this section is notorious for being tricky with timing, and we're here to make sure time doesn't become your enemy. We'll cover techniques to help you move smoothly through passages and questions without feeling rushed. Remember, this isn't just about getting to the end on time, it's about staying composed and engaged throughout. First, let's talk about pacing during the passage. Cars passages are typically around 600 words, and you'll want to aim for reading them at a pace similar to a conversational tone, about 150 words per minute. If you stick to this, you'll finish a passage in roughly 4 minutes, which leaves plenty of time to answer questions. The goal isn't to speed read, but to read as if you were having a conversation with the author, taking time to hear the tone, notice shifts in perspective, and grasp the main ideas. This way, you'll maintain the natural flow of the text while still moving efficiently. When you start reading, don't worry if the passage seems dense or confusing. Sometimes the opening paragraphs can be overwhelming, but don't panic. If you need to, go back and reread the first few sentences to get your bearings. It's completely normal. Remember, passages are chosen to be challenging on purpose. The authors might have a distinct style, complex ideas, or detailed factual content that can make it tricky to follow. So, give yourself permission to slow down and understand the main points. You'll get that time back later when you answer questions with more confidence. Now, let's address when you should slow down during the reading. There are times when the passage might present a lot of factual information in quick succession. Think of historical details, technical concepts, or complicated theories. For example, if the passage is about the history of metallurgy, you might be bombarded with facts about different cultures and their metalworking techniques. In these cases, you need to slow down just enough to keep track of the key points, because chances are the questions will focus on these details. Similarly, with passages that have a more abstract style, such as modern philosophy or literary criticism, it's crucial to read on a human level. Don't put the author on a pedestal. Think of them as someone who's trying to communicate their thoughts to you directly. If a sentence feels convoluted, take a moment to ask yourself, what's the author trying to say here? Rephrase it in your own words if that helps. The goal is to grasp the main argument and how each paragraph contributes to it. Before you start answering questions, take about 20 to 30 seconds to quickly skim back over the passage. Just go through the paragraphs and mentally note what each one covered. This will refresh your memory and give you a better grasp of the passage's structure, which is invaluable when you're answering questions. Understanding how the passage is organized helps you see where key ideas are located, making it easier to find supporting details or resolve ambiguities. Now, let's get into pacing during the questions. The art here is not to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. If you come across a tough question, give yourself a moment to process the question, stem thoroughly. Then, approach the answers with a critical eye. Don't rush to choose the first answer that seems right. You need to weigh all options and attack them for potential weaknesses. Often, the best approach is to narrow it down to the 2 most plausible answers. Then look for subtle differences that can help you eliminate one. For instance, many students fall into the trap of anchoring, where the first piece of information they encounter affects their judgment. Be aware of this. If you get stuck, use what we call get out of jail free cards. These are mental reminders to let go of a question that's taking too long. If you've already spent over a minute on one question, flag it, make your best choice, and move on. You can come back to it later if there's time. Timing every passage can create stress, so instead, think of time management in blocks. A good strategy is to check in on your progress every 30 minutes. During that time, aim to complete about 20 questions. This pacing will keep you on track to finish the section with a bit of time to spare. If, after 30 minutes, you're behind schedule, don't worry. Just shift to what we call Plan B. This involves using your get out of jail free cards more liberally for the next 30 minutes to make up for lost time. Focus on answering questions quickly and moving on, rather than getting bogged down in tough spots. Now, let's talk about what to do if you're still struggling with time, even after consistent practice. This is tough medicine, but it works. For the first 15 minutes of the section, push yourself to answer at least 10 questions. Yes, it's challenging, and you might not feel 100% confident with all your answers. However, this will set a good pace for the rest of the section and help prevent time issues later on. If you finish a particularly difficult passage and feel flustered, take a brief mental break. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and recenter yourself. It may seem like a waste of precious seconds, but regaining your calm can actually save you time in the long run. The Yerkes-Dodson law tells us that a moderate level of arousal, not high stress, is best for performance on difficult tasks like the cars section, so use controlled breathing techniques to bring yourself back to that optimal state. In terms of practice, use AAMC's Prep Hub data to track your progress. Pay attention to your pacing for individual passages and overall question timing. Practice with timing in mind, aiming to get each passage under 5 minutes. If one particular passage takes significantly longer, reflect on why that happened. Was it the subject matter, or did you get caught up in one specific detail? Identifying these patterns will help you avoid making the same mistakes during the actual exam. To wrap up, the key to conquering CARS timing is to strike a balance between careful reading and efficient answering. Practice reading at a conversational pace, slow down when you encounter tricky content, and don't get stuck on individual questions. Always remember to check your timing every 30 minutes and use those get out of jail free cards if you need them. If you want more resources to sharpen your CARS skills, don't forget to download the King of the Curve app or visit kingoffthecurve.org. We offer over 200 free CARS passages, designed to give you the practice you need to ace this section. Whether you're struggling with time management or just looking for more challenging material, we've got you covered.